Good evening, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Council of the City of Long Beach, held Tuesday, December 6th, 2022 at 7 p.m. We'll have a roll call. Councilmember Poshley is absent. Councilmember Lester.
Here.
Councilmember Bendo.
Present.
Vice President Treston. President McGinnis.
Present.
Let the record indicate the presence of City Manager Donna Gaden and Corporation Counsel Richard Berrios. We'll now have a salute to the flag.
Mr. Bendo, will you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the December 6th meeting of the Long Beach City Council. I'd like to defer to City Manager Donna Gaden.
Good evening, everyone. The first thing I want to do is to commend our entire fire department. I only see one member here so far between the volunteers and the paid for their quick action on the fire last night. I also want to say thank you to all the outside department agencies that came to help us and the ones that came to stand by because there were a couple other issues at the same time. The fire was going on across the street at Park. There was no one injured, and everything is being investigated. So I just want to make sure that not only myself but the council wants to say thank you and job well done. The first person is Corporation Counsel Berrios.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Just a quick update on the Long Island Railroad. I think my Deputy Corporation Counsel, Chuck Geiger, gave an update at the last meeting. We were waiting on some deliverables. We received those deliverables a little bit after 4 p.m. today. We're now reviewing them. We have a couple of questions with our insurance folks, and we're still moving. We're nearly there. That's all I got.
Thank you very much. Now, Mr. McNally. Did you have a question, Roy? No. Oh.
Good evening, everybody. City Manager asked me to give a few updates here. We are in the holidays. That's what most of these updates are on, but evidently along with the holidays the last several years comes increased counts of COVID. We are officially in the high community risk level zone once again. With that, CDC recommends wearing masks when at large gatherings indoors. We have masks in the back of the room. And for anybody that's interested, we still have free COVID test kits downstairs in the lobby of City Hall. Come by anytime when City Hall is open and you can grab them. On to the more fun stuff now, I guess I would say. We had a great tree lighting this past weekend, very well attended. Everything went off great. It's a beautiful tree. Kennedy Plaza looks awesome. Go ahead and look outside yourself. It was also the launch of the first annual holiday market, which is a partnership between the city and the farmers market. They will be taking place every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from now until just before Christmas. So go get some local crafts, some local food. It's a great new addition to the city for the holidays. The Electric Light Parade is this Saturday. Free shuttles take place from the Long Island Railroad Station. It steps off at 6 o'clock, so get there a little bit earlier. We'd love for folks to go out and frequent one of our restaurants, hit up dinner either beforehand or afterwards. The grand menorah lighting takes place on Sunday, 12/18. Well, I guess that's the fun holiday stuff. The not as fun holiday stuff, or not as fun non-holiday stuff, is Equinor is having a public information session on their Empire Wind project this Thursday at the library, 6:30. We strongly encourage everybody to come, learn more about the projects, ask your questions so that they can start addressing them. Also on Thursday, as the council is aware, as many in the public are aware, the Nassau County Bridge Authority has proposed to convert to Easy Pass at some point in 2023 and also increase the fees or the tolls for crossing the bridge effective January 1st. There was a lack of information, I would say, initially over the past 24 hours. Everybody thought that once the decals went away, there was going to be no mechanism in order to pay for a yearly reduced rate. We have since found out that that is not true. You can sign up with Easy Pass, and they will honor the $199 annual rate. So what everybody thought was the worst case scenario is not quite the worst case scenario, but they are still proposing to increase rates 50% for residents of Nassau County and 100% for non-residents of Nassau County. They are having a board meeting tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. You can attend at their administrative building, or they are also, I'm sorry, not tomorrow, Thursday. You can attend. It's the 15th? Oh, that's only elected official?
So, yeah.
All right. We'll put information for public meetings out there up on social media and on the website so the public can get engaged. Sorry, did not know that that was elected official meeting only, but we will report back what we learn as well. And that's what I got. Questions?
The letter, the press release that went from the commissioner of the Atlantic Beach Bridge, will that be on our website?
We will put that up as well, yes.
Thank you very much.
That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager Gade.
Okay, first item this evening is the public hearing for local law amending the charter of the City of Long Beach regarding city officers and their general powers and duties.
We had a hearing. No, this is the hearing? Okay.
I think it's continuation of the...
Continuation
Yeah,
of the
because it was
hearing.
tabled.
So are there any questions from the council? One of our members wasn't here last time, so we wanted to make sure that that person had an opportunity to ask questions to the public, in public rather. Okay. Are there questions from the public now? Ms. Hession? It's
Yes.
Yes.
It's the public hearing that goes along with item 1.
Come on up.
Eileen Hession, Long Beach. This is the thing about the 3-year term and having a contract, right?
Up to, yes.
Okay.
An agreement up to.
All right, so I can see why that would benefit the officers. I'm not sure how this benefits the people of Long Beach. What concerns me is when a new regime comes in, those officers might still be there for 3 years and be in a situation like our Congress is right now, where the people on the council and the officers are in opposition. Do you understand what I mean?
Can
Yeah,
I answer this, Kim?
Okay, yes, Mr. Lester.
Yeah, first of all, it's deliberately written up to 3 years because the city manager contract in the charter is a 3-year thing. I don't think anybody's really envisioning a 3-year contract. But it's not fair to the residents of this town to have qualified, decent public servants that know the job and have them be fired because a new administration comes in without any notice or anything. Now, in most of contracts, there's a notice provision, which, you know, the council, I'm sure, would put in, so that if somebody is going to be terminated, they have, you know, they have to be paid a severance pay of 2 months or 3 months, something like that. In the city manager's case, it happens to be 6 months, but, you know, I don't think anybody's envisioning the same contract as the city manager, so that you really don't tie incoming administration with something. 2 years with a, let's say, a 3-month termination or a 2-month termination would not necessarily tie up anybody for a long period of time. But on the other hand, it allows the city to continue. Now, when you look at the things that we do, you know, where a new administration has to take as, you know, as they come in, you have the zoning board, you have the civil service commission, you have the city manager. You know, we allow it for the city manager, which is probably the most important position in this town. I know that if I were a resident, I would not want to see a new administration come in and get rid of the police commissioner immediately, and get rid of somebody like Joe Fabrizio immediately, and get rid of these people that know the job so well. So I kind of look at this as protecting the citizens of Long Beach to some point. It's not something where you're looking to keep somebody in for a, you know, a lengthy period of time. because every contract usually has either four clause clause, or they, you know, a severance package, so to speak. But otherwise, I find it,
All right, I like hearing that, thank you. It gives me a whole new perspective on it. My sister lost her job in one of those situations. A new broom sweeps clean. Everybody was out the day after the new people came in, and that's the way Long Beach has been for a very long time. So what you said makes sense. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Right, it continues with the professionalization of the staff and how Long Beach is run. Any other questions from the public? Mr. Delory?
Good evening, Mike Delory, Long Beach. I fully support the action of giving contracts to the individuals. Really, their title is Corporation Counsel, Commissioner of Public Works, Police Commissioner, and City Controller. I remember years ago I was arguing up the point here where the city had no controller, they were outsourced. And having worked with all of these individuals, in my former capacity of city council, sitting in your seat sometimes, Roy.
But not without a cupcake.
But I did have the ability to wipe the microphone for people that asked for it. Rich, I've worked with the Carpona Foundation donation. Ina Resnick, I've worked with as far as the budget and everything else. Police Commissioner Walsh and the police department overall have done an exemplary job, in my opinion. And I'll save the best for last. Joe Fabrizio, in my opinion, with all of the public works projects that have been going on, and the amount of public works that was probably not done, and then Sandy came, and all of the repairs and improvements that are needed and probably still need to be done. It's a tremendous, a lot of work that I see, other people have seen. And if you go down any of the roads lately, in my opinion, Beach Street and areas throughout Park Avenue from New York Avenue to Nevada, it's a marked improvement. And to the city manager and the council, you've done, in my opinion, a very good job. And I fully support this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Mr. Gessler?
Good evening all, Jay Gusler. You guys missed me. I think I agree with the general idea involved here. I think it isn't so much about the individuals or necessarily the incumbents. I think it's more about the stability of city government and smoothing out any bumps that may occur as administrations change. So as a general concept, I'm on board with this. I think it serves the city and the residents well. I also think it creates greater accountability from the occupants of these positions directly to the council. But the concerns that I have are about the process. You know, the council, as we all know, is a legislative body. It acts pursuant to resolutions. This sounds to me like the council has to take a more direct role in candidate searches and evaluations and backgrounds, and I don't know that the council I don't know that that's within the council's authority. I think that this, you know, again, I understand it's an expansion of an existing provision of the charter, but I think you guys need to flesh those things out in a lot more detail. You know, how are you going to go about making these hires? If it's going to be the city manager continuing to decide who's going to be up for consideration, and then the council basically ratifying them then I guess you can sidestep that process concern, but if it's going to be the council, I think you guys need to set that out a little bit more clearly or in a little more detail. The other thing is I think you need to come up with some mandatory contract language that ensures that another administration is not going to be saddled with one of your appointees and not able to do anything about them for the duration of their contract. And again, I would think that something like that would be should be in the resolution itself. And then the other thing is that the council needs to be advised by someone independent. We are all aware of a past incident where a corporation counsel advised the city manager on a contract for himself, a contract that was wholly facially illegal, but also included many provisions that were violative of the city's charter. So I would hope that you'd put some sort of safeguards in place to prevent any conflicts when you're advised on entering into these agreements.
Thank you, Mr. Gusler. So what I will say to that is that in the city manager's office, the city manager is required to do the search for all of the people that are listed here. But since I've been here, well, it's only been one person that was hired. That is the police commissioner. After going through a which Commissioner Walsh can tell you, a very intense search, then they interview with the council. Even when it came to corporation council, they interview with the council, so it's a joint decision. City managers typically, although in the charter here, they make the decision, but they will refer their decision or their recommendation to the council. So it's twofold, because you don't want the council to make a decision based on just them and not have the city manager's input as well, because those people they report to the city manager. So you want a cohesive team, and in order to have that, the city manager must work with the council work with the city manager, and then they all work with the team, because the city manager truly is only as good as their team.
And I agree with the concept that you're describing, but right now we have the opposite, where the city manager unilaterally appoints these people.
That might have been in the past. That might be in the past. So I understand what you're saying, but that might be in the past.
Right.
That was in the past.
Like I say, I support it. I just think it needs to be strengthened.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Gusler. Any other questions from the public? Seeing none, the hearing is closed.
Okay, on to the regular calendar. Item 1 is a local law amending the charter of the City of Long Beach regarding city officers, their general powers and duties. Hearing has been held on this item already. Item 2 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to amend the agreement for engineering services for the Governor's Office of Storm Recovery City of Long Beach Drainage Improvement Project.
Commissioner Fabrizio.
Good evening. Joe Fabrizio, Commissioner of Public Works. This is a resolution authorizing the city manager to increase the value of DMB engineers and architect's contract for the Gosser Drainage Improvements Project by $197,040 from $405,890 to $602,930. There were 3 primary reasons for the increase. The first was there was an additional 9 months of construction administration and inspection that was required. The notice to proceed was issued on the project April 13, 2021. The duration of the project was 10 months and completion was anticipated in February 2022. Unfortunately, the project was delayed and did not finish until last month. The issues were many, but generally pertained to supply chain delays caused by COVID and were no fault of DMB. Examples included the backup generator, which arrived in April of 2022. It was supposed to come in much earlier. The lighting, the colonial lighting on National Boulevard didn't come in until July of 2022. It was supposed to come in like 5 to 6 months earlier. And the pumps for the Tennessee Avenue pump station came in much later than anticipated. That component of this $197,000 change order was $97,000. The second reason for the increase was the relocation of the backup generator from Tennessee Avenue to the roof at the Indiana Firehouse. The original design contained a backup generator that was to be installed just north of the stormwater pump station and adjacent to the street end bulkhead. Residents, specifically Mr. Mastro Giovanni and Mr. and Mrs. Clues, were extremely upset regarding the proposed placement. They were concerned that the new backup generator installed to the new design of elevation of 13.0 NAVD would be an eyesore. So to mitigate their concerns, I directed D&B to redesign and place the generator about approximately a quarter mile atop the Indiana Firehouse. This was not part of their original contract. That component of this $197,000 change order was $75,000. The third and final reason for the increase was because there was considerable delays associated with, there was a conflict at the north side of the intersection of Riverside and Pine with the fiber optic cable. A fiber optic cable serving the South Shore of Long Island from Europe was in direct conflict with a proposed 10-foot diameter precast drainage structure. The fiber optic cable was actually traversing directly inside our storm drain pipe, making it impossible for us to install the structure. The conflict was identified in November 21 and not resolved until July of 2022. D&B was instrumental in resolving the issue with Crown Castle, the owner of the fiber optic cable, and J.R. Cruz. Ultimately, the fiber optic cable was relocated at no cost to the city. The good news is that the project as a whole is under budget by $453,878 after this change order is potentially approved. On March 16, 2021, the capital budget was amended and $1,067,268 was authorized and borrowed for this project. This was the city's share of the $7.4 million budget. Therefore, I recommend approving this to DeVerk and Bartolucci Consulting Engineers. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions from the council? I'm seeing none. Any questions from the public? Seeing none.
Item 3 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase one 2023 Ford Police Interceptor utility all-wheel drive base vehicle, two 2022 Ford F-150 Police Responder 4x4 5.5-foot box 145-inch wheelbase XL vehicles, and one Polaris Ranger XP 1000 premium utility terrain vehicle for the city's police department.
Commissioner Walsh?
Good evening, everybody. The resolution's relatively self-explanatory. I know that there were some discussions. I would like to say that we no longer really have a pickup truck for patrol. We have one pickup truck that is used, by the specials to do booting. Our other pickup truck is no longer with us. It's been decommissioned and is not functional. It's going to be auctioned off for parts, basically. This particular purchase was approved. The capital project monies for this was approved last year. For this year, the borrowing is going to take place in February. However, the money is allowed, according to our bond council, to be used for this earlier purchase because I'm able to get two 2022 brand new Ford F-150 police responder pickup trucks at the current pricing for 2022. The cost of these vehicles is going up by over $10,000. So we wanted to get these earlier. One, two, the status of our fleet is not very good. I sent a spreadsheet to the council explaining the status of our fleet. Most of our fleet came just after Sandy. We've done sporadic purchasing since then. So these vehicles are in great need. At the current time, I have 8 vehicles that are not in service right now, that are in varying stages, some with blown motors, some with electrical issues, some with windows that won't go up and down. The interiors are not functional. I have brake issues on some other cars. We have cars in the parking lot that don't start. The fleet needs some more attention. Since getting here, I purchased 3 vehicles new out of capital project monies, and the fourth vehicle was purchased recently. You approved a vehicle for a car that was in a front-end collision while an officer was sitting at a red light and hit by a drunk driver. If you recall, we took some money from the insurance company, supplemented it with money that was left over in a capital project. So that explains those vehicles. The 2023 Ford Interceptor is not immediately available, but can be ordered and start the process of getting it. When the 2023 is built, that would come much quicker. And then obviously the Polaris Ranger. Any questions about that?
Any questions from the council?
Commissioner, you mentioned 8 vehicles in various states of repair or disrepair.
Mm-hmm.
Is that all in the city garage?
So we have two vehicles right now. One of them is a 2022 vehicle that's experiencing, I believe, electrical issues. That's over at the dealer. We have another truck that we bought in 2018 that this will be a replacement motor going into it. That's at a dealer. The rest of the vehicles are at our city garage for various repairs.
Is that typical, that the vehicles would take that long, that we'd have 8
Some of them are like, some of them just have started experiencing. One of them that I didn't notice on the list, we have one of the cars that we just put into service from an asset forfeiture, just started having problems today. We had another car that broke down yesterday, so it fluctuates. But the older, these cars, like I've said before, they basically run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's very hard on the vehicles. So as they age out, usually it's about 5 years where you get some reliable service out of these cars. Then they start to break down and they start to cost more money for the city than replacing them. You can spend, like, this is one of the Tahoes that we just repurposed. We took it off patrol and made it an unmarked car. It's on its third motor, the original motor and 2 replacement motors. So this will be the last time we throw money into that vehicle. That's 10 years old, but we keep it running.
Just out of curiosity, how many miles on that vehicle?
That one, I want to say it's around 120,000 miles, 110,000 miles. I can't be quoted on that for sure. So, but it's up there, So that's chassis miles. It's 1 million miles when you consider that the vehicles was used on patrol, more than 1 million miles, and it was running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with regard to wear and tear on the engine, transmission, and things like that. So it's not like a normal car. By the way, don't buy a police car at an auction unless you want to put money into it.
Tip of the day.
Any other questions from the council? Mr. Bendo?
Yeah, Councilman Lester is slacking. Could you please tell him what warranty comes with these?
That's right. They do have warranties on them, yes.
What one?
I didn't really go into it. I believe that $36,000 on the engine and motor and the transmission, and it's extended on the electronics, and the dealer that we get it from warranties the siren and the install of the other electronics in the car.
So the 22 that's in the shop right now?
Completely under warranty.
It's at a dealer.
No cost. The 18, the motor on the 18 actually is still under warranty. Actually, I think it's more than 36,000 on that one. I think it was more like 80,000 for some reason, but I can't be quoted. I didn't memorize all the warranties on these.
Miles.
Those are miles, yes. The warranties sometimes get voided, just so you know. If a car has a tremendous amount of hours on the motor, they do void warranties. So we try to extend them as far as we can, is what the point is.
Any other questions from the council? Any questions from the public? Seeing none?
Item 4 is a resolution authorizing settlement of certiorari proceedings.
Mr. Flammer?
Hi, good evening. This is a tax certiorari settlement for Xander Corp., which is Sea Point Towers. It settles 7 years with a 3-year moratorium. It reduces the assessed value moving forward to $630 with a refund of a lump sum cash on $85,000. Funds are available in the judgment and claims certiorari account, and the original demand was $333,000. Like every other certiorari, this saves us money. No interest will be paid, and we avoid the cost of a trial and appraisal and so forth.
Any questions from the council? Any questions from the public? Seeing none?
Item 5 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with the County of Nassau for the providing of the review of tax grievances for a term of 5 tax years, 2023-24 through and including 27-28.
Mr. Flammer?
Good evening again. This is an extension of the IMA, the agreement we have with Nassau County, for my office to handle their conflicted grievances, and the county will handle if we have a conflicted grievance. Basically, an employee or elected official who files a grievance will be taken care of by the county. The 5-year agreement has, the last 2 years, a little increase in the fees. This has benefited the city the past couple of years. We actually made money, about $21,000 on the agreement, and it keeps us, any conflict of interest out of City Hall.
Any questions from the council?
Yes, please.
Mr. Lester?
Mr. Farmer, the money, the 21,000 that the city made, we were told that overtime was required because of this.
Oh, yes, some overtime was required, and that's the $10,000 cost.
So what's the 21,000
That
gross
would
or
be
net?
profit, I guess, or money
Net.
we made. Yeah.
After the overtime?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Mr. Bendo?
Ray, just going from memory, the contract we have now was 30 hours, right?
It was a total of 55 hours for the commercial cases, 25 for review, for negotiation, and 30 for analysis. So it's 55 total. They have like about
Okay.
12 commercial properties.
Okay, so it's basically staying the same.
Yes, that
Okay.
part.
Any questions from the public on this item? Seeing none?
Item 6 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase an office trailer from the lowest responsible bidder and to amend the budget.
Okay, I'll take that one. This is to purchase the trailer from Consone Leasing. The trailer will be outside here on the headquarters fire station. It's for the volunteers. The trailer came in, the lowest most responsible bidder came in at $85,818. We were given grants, which we received from Denise Ford that represented $77,975. And we have the balance of $7,843 in the account already, city building rehabilitation.
When will this trailer be delivered?
I will place the order and I can find out for sure. We're hoping that it will be delivered, but no later than February, March, because they're going to prepare the ground for sewer and water.
Okay.
So that when the trailer goes in, everything is prepared.
Any questions from the council? Mr. Lester?
Ms. Gaden, the warranty?
Councilmember Lester, I'm going to find out about the warranty for you. The people that needed to tell me about the warranty were not in today. Yeah. I didn't forget. Yes.
Any questions from the public on this item? Mr. Hodge? Yeah. Yes.
James Hodge, here in this great, amazing city of Long Beach, 95 East Fulton Street. This is for the volunteer fire department, correct? I just wanted to stand in support any way that we can continuously support the fire department, the volunteer fire department. I think one of the, outside of the police department, but I always say the fire department always runs in when everyone runs out. They're some of the greatest unrecognized sheroes and heroes in our land, and any way that we can continuously get more donations, more grants for whatever equipment, and I've been saying this for many, many years, always standing up and supporting for any equipment they need, anything they need. Let us continue to expedite anything that we could for our great fire department and all of the men and women that volunteer, along with as a former member of the auxiliary police officers. So again, I thank God for volunteers and these firemen. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hodge. Any other questions from the public? Seeing none?
Item 7 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Long Beach Police Foundation Incorporated.
Commissioner Walsh?
Good evening again. So this particular resolution is regarding a foundation, a 501c3 corporation that's looking to formulate themselves in the for the benefit of the Long Beach Police Department. It's modeled after the concept that the Nassau County Police Department used, and a lot of the other police agencies across the United States, where like-minded individuals who are in support of the police department have an avenue to give funding or monies or equipment or training to the police department to create better service and community engagement. Nothing that this particular organization can give to the city can be done without resolution from this council. So the way this would work is they have money, and let's just say we wanted to buy, I don't know, widgets, and these widgets were needed by the police department. The police department would say, okay, we need 25 widgets. They go out and they buy 25 widgets. That would then come to the council. The council would say the 501c3 foundation would like to donate these for the specific use of the Long Beach Police Department, and then by resolution you would accept them as a gift to the city, and they would be put into service by the city. So it's done for many, many years in Nassau County. We actually have, it's something that I was trying to have happen here in the city of Long Beach, and I worked pretty hard with trying to get some people who would be interested in formulating a foundation. I had been approached by people in this city who wanted to give things to the city, but there's no avenue for that to happen on a regular basis. I have a donor right now who wishes to give a substantial sum of money, and he has no way of doing that on a regular basis. He has securities that he wants to give to the city. So the securities he would have to sell and have a tax implication. This gives him the ability to donate securities to a 501c3, and when they get sold, he gets the benefit of not having to pay taxes on the increase in value. He gives us the money that can be used for whatever the foundation chooses to use. They have a conflict of interest policy that I know that you're aware of. They also have
Whistleblower policy.
yeah, a whistleblower policy, and there's also an ethics policy that I have been speaking with them about, that every director would have to sign, and each director on that particular council, or this particular foundation, I should say, would have to be run through a background investigation to make sure that they weren't criminal. So that's sort of the way this came about. It's a very exciting thing for the city, and it basically takes non-budgeted items, but items that the city would not have to pay for in taxes, and is given to the city through philanthropic means.
So to be painfully clear, there will be absolutely no cost from the city to run this organization, i.e. lawyers, accountants?
No cost whatsoever to the city. As a matter of fact, Nassau County raised $27 million towards their police academy, and the county raised the other portion of the money, and they're using that money now to build their, what's called their tactical house, or it's a village that they're building for training purposes. So there's millions and millions of dollars that they've been able to raise and accept as gifts to the city. Here's another example of the way they use it. They have the need for a community outreach meeting. The foundation hosts a community outreach meeting, puts food out and things to attract people, and the police department then can bond further with the city while the foundation is there providing refreshments and things like that. So it really is a great way to take us to the next level and professionalize the city and the department.
Any questions from the council? Ms. Trustin?
This is for Corporation Council. This will follow the policy we passed on donations, or is it separate?
Yes, that's correct. So one of the requirements in negotiating the memorandum of understanding was setting forth that we had adopted a donation policy, that any donations made must be made in accordance with that policy. So they have agreed to that as well.
Thank you.
Any questions from the public on this item? Mr. Hodge? Good evening.
Give me some space. You're kind of big. You're doing your push-ups. James Hodge, 95 East Fulton Street in this great city. I just wanted to say this is always exciting for me when it comes to an opportunity where people can donate. A lot of people like donating for tax write-offs, and some people just love donating because it's in their heart to do. The 29th, I just went on Facebook and asked for a little help in honor of my birthday, and I brought 180 people, seniors and children, to the movie theater. And people like donating. I don't have a non-for-profit. I just asked, and some people donated. And so with the police department looking to do a foundation and a non-for-profit, people will come from all over the country. And as a former chair and board member on the MLK, I've helped raise over $2 million being on the board of directors with a team of people and grant writers and so forth and so on from the time I was on the board. So it's exciting because people like giving, people like donating. There's millions and millions and billions of dollars. Give Tuesday, I wish this was in place for last Tuesday, because Give Tuesday is one of the biggest giving days of the year, and people love giving. And as it is at the end of the year, the great giving time is before November, right just before December 31st. And so I would love, if this is something dealing with the city, everything about it should be open, and I think that it should be if it's a board, it should be a board, a foundation from Nevada to Maple, from the bay to the ocean. Everyone can prize representation from every community to sit on this board, because I think that would only help enhance opportunities for more monies and more opportunities, and then different classes or training or equipment. I'm on the Nassau County, again, Police Council. I love this idea, and I would support it any way I can, because the Jeeps that he's talking about replacing, they wear and tear because they're driving on the beach all year. They're driving in that sand, and that wears and tears even more. So I just think this is a great idea. Thank you, Police Commissioner. Thank you, City. And if I could be any help, I'm helping other boards out right now. I'm not on the MLK board, but this is something great. I submit my name to help this city get millions, and I think I can help. Time will tell if I can help. But whether I'm on it or not, I still will help, because this is a part of my great city. So again, thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, City. This is a great idea, but everything should be laid on the table, because again, people could try to give money and look for benefits from the city. So it just got to be very careful. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hodge. Any other questions from the public?
I just want to point out one quick thing, Council President McGinnis. This is not the type of organization that's going to be calling people and soliciting donations. That's not the way this works. So they do events, or they'll invite people that are philanthropic in nature to see if they're interested. It's not the kind of thing where it's ground roots or grassroots where they're reaching out into the community all the time. They could do something like that at an event, but the one thing I did not want to have is, hi, this is the Long Beach, New York Police Foundation, and we're calling to ask you for $5 donate. It's not that. Okay. You know, we don't want that to be something cumbersome about, in the city. So I want to just make that clear.
Okay. I think no other questions, so that's the last item.
On to the voting. Item 1 is the local law amending the charter of the City of Long Beach regarding city officers, their general powers and duties. Who introduce and move the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second?
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Councilmember Bendo.
While I certainly see the value in having contracts to hire and retain top-tier talent, I think the resolution as it's currently written comes up short. And actually, Mr. Gussler, heaven forbid me for agreeing with him, but he did point some of it out. The way it's written now, we could potentially be burdening a future administration with people that they may not want. I don't think we would have wanted that to happen to us. I could also see a less scrupulous council appointing their friends a couple of weeks before they're going out the door into things, which would force another administration to have to do payouts, potentially, if they wanted to replace those people. So I feel like there wasn't adequate thought put into it as it's written now. So for that reason, I have to vote no.
Vice President Treston.
Yes.
President McGinnis.
I think this is not about the person, it's about the position. And I think that if you have a corporation counsel that has a contract and that you have contracts that have exit clauses, the process works. So I vote yes.
Item 2 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to amend the agreement for engineering services for the Governor's Office of Storm Recovery, City of Long Beach Drainage Improvements Project. Who introduce and move the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second.
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Lester.
This basically is moving a generator because people complained about it. A couple of people. I understand they didn't like it, but I think it's a very bad precedent for the city of Long Beach that we expend taxpayer money because a couple of people don't like the way something looks, so I'm voting no.
Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Vice President Treston.
For the safety of the city, yes.
President McGinnis.
I take exception to Mr. Lester. I think he had his opinion, which is his right, is a complete mischaracterization of the project. The staff inherited certain plans and projects, and actually, despite all those challenges, still came in $453,000 under budget, so I vote yes.
Item 3 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase one 2023 Ford Police Interceptor utility all-wheel drive based vehicle, two 2022 Ford F-150 Police Responder 4x4 5.5-foot box 145-inch wheelbase XL vehicles, and one Polaris Ranger XP 1000 premium utility terrain vehicle for the city's police department. Who would introduce and move the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second.
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Vice President Treston.
Yes.
President McGinnis.
Yes.
Item 4 is a resolution authorizing settlement of certiorari proceedings. Who would introduce and move the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second.
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Vice President Treston.
Yes.
President McGinnis.
Yes.
Item 5 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with the County of Nassau for the providing of the review of tax grievances for a term of 5 tax years, 2023-4 through and including 27-28. Who would introduce and move the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second.
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Vice President Treston.
Yes.
President McGinnis.
Yes.
Item 6 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase an office trailer from the lowest responsible bidder and to amend the budget. Who would introduce and move the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second.
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Vice President Treston.
Yes, and thank you to Legislator Ford for her assistance in getting this.
President McGinnis.
Yes.
And finally, item 7 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Long Beach Police Foundation, Inc. Who would introduce and move the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second.
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Lester.
I abstain.
Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Vice President Treston.
Yes.
President McGinnis.
Yes.
City manager's monthly personnel report has been filed by the city clerk. Who will make a motion to close the meeting?
I will.
Second.
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Vice President Treston.
Mike here? Yes.
President McGinnis.
Yes.
Okay.
We will now do good and welfare. Jack Ryan.
Good evening. Jack Ryan, Delaware Avenue, Long Beach. Here about it's previously discussed a little bit about the toll increase on the Atlantic Beach Bridge. And I don't want to go just to the toll increase, but I'll give an example that many of us use. If you buy a 20-trip ticket, 20-trip card for $15, it's 75 cents a trip. As of January 1st, that's going to be $30. That's $1.50 a trip. And by the end of 2023, it's going to be $3 a trip. That's just an example, and you can take that across the board. I've tried, and we're all at the mercy of the Nassau County Bridge Authority. I've been going over that bridge my entire life. I don't know who they are. I've tried to research to see who they are. I assume they're appointed by the county executive. I don't know. I don't know who appoints them. They act at their own will. There's a website called, let me find the name of it, excuse me, Open Book New York. They have to report on that. Looked at the last 3 years. They somehow claim to have an operating loss of each of the last 3 years, and at the same time have an increase in cash assets each year. So that's a good trick if you can do it. I would urge the city to take a real look at what they're doing and planning, and not just the individual toll increases. I would ask the city to ask the county executive to put these, and I assume the county executive has control, to put these increases on hold and ask for an audit of the Nassau County Bridge Authority. Who are they? What are they doing? Why are we paying all this money? I was told when I was a kid that when the bonds are paid off, the tolls will go away. So what the Bridge Authority has done throughout is every time they're close to paying off the bonds, they go into debt again. Their announcement, by the way, in their announcement, they had the gall to state, let's see, that the Nassau County Bridge Authority tolls remain among the lowest in the region. They are the only toll in Nassau and Suffolk. So it's not too tough to be the lowest toll if you're the only toll. I guess you could also rephrase it and say they're the highest toll. They've been getting away with this. They're proposing $16 million in new expenses, which will put them into debt until my grandchildren are ready to stand up here. I would ask you not just to oppose it, but for the county, the city attorney to call upon Nassau County, the county executive, to put a stop on this and to really take a look and see what's going on at the Nassau County Bridge Authority. We don't know who appoints them. We don't know how long they're appointed for. We don't know what they're doing. And this is beyond just this insult with these toll increases. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike DeLaurie.
Oh, that's
Gaten, Fosterly, Bendo, Berry. And you got one.
I gave him. I'm just going to keep it short, and you can comment on any of the items. Just the status of the comprehensive plan. Number 3 on the list was answered by Commissioner Fabrizio. The sewer plant conversion target date, is it still for year 2024? The one that I would like to ask is the design plan for the water distribution in the Walks section of Long Beach. Will the funds be authorized to start any of this project? Will there be funds allocated to move forward in the 23-24 tentative budget? We know the age of the pipes. Oh, let me just be clear. I do live in the Walks. This is not only about because I live in the Walks. This was something that the West Home and Walks Association was working towards getting this started. So I believe there's a tentative design plan, but I'm not sure. Is the parking proposed plan dead, still in review and discussion phase? Are you able at all to speak about the job postings which are on the city's website? Basically, how has the response been, and what, if anything, that you can discuss at a open meeting? Lastly, as I said before, I do support the changes that you've talked about in the charter. And in the second page is just items of concern and interest that you may or may not decide that you want to look into it or not. That's it. Thank you.
That would be good, the second option. You want to let, yeah.
I'm sorry, so what we'll do is I'll take the questions, get all the answers for you, and then we will post them, and then we will talk about them at the next meeting. Make sure you get all the answers.
Thank you, Mr. Delory. Eileen Hession.
Eileen Hession, Long Beach. It was a busy week in Long Beach. The holiday things were mentioned by John earlier. I'd like to say also that there was a senior prom, not for high school seniors, but for the elderly seniors, last week. And I'd like to thank the police commissioner and a few members of his staff, as well as some of the council members who came to that prom and did a little dancing there too. I think it's very important that the community sees that kind of support. The tree lighting was very impressive. The number of people and families who came out was just amazing, I thought. And I thought the choosing Paul Gillespie to light the tree was a brilliant choice. The tent also was very impressive on Friday night. Not so much on the weekend. I think a lot of people didn't come back. But I'm wondering, between the heat and the tent and the security, are the people who rent the spaces paying for that, or are we? Great.
How are we covering the cost to operate the tent? The farmer's market?
Terrific, thank you. Also, the lights were up very nicely. They look beautiful on the boardwalk and in the center of town, and the West End especially looks beautiful. And the houses that are decorated already look beautiful. Okay, that's the end of my Christmas stuff.
Bah humbug.
What I really want to talk about, two issues. Very quickly, the State Street, where that hospital thing is being built, they have a barricade up because they put new sidewalks in, but that was weeks ago, and it's a very dangerous situation right now. If somebody is going west and somebody is turning into the street to go east, I mean, there's no signage to make it safe, and it seems like the barricades should be put down already. So that's that. And then I have to agree, I think it was Jack Ryan who talked about the bridge. This is really like a tax on Long Beach. I mean, who uses the bridge? Just our barrier island. And the few people, the small percentage of people coming into Long Beach as opposed to us using it. So I think the city council, city manager, Ari Brown, our new representative, Denise Ford, Missy Miller, Blakeman especially, since he lives in Atlantic Beach, should do something about this. It's just outrageous. Years ago, they talked about that bridge being built for patronage jobs. I don't know why we are paying for that, and I think it should stop. Thank you.
Thank you. James Hodge.
James Hodge, 95 East Fulton Street, Long Beach, New York. Just wanted to again mention, and I'm not sure of the update of the North Shore Critical Infrastructure Project. Of course, everyone understands the many different complexities and dilemmas that we've been going through year after year, asking and asking. And I know that Long Island Railroad met with the city. Was there an update? I know we said every meeting there would be an update. There was an update today?
Mr. Barrios gave an update, yes.
Okay, so are we almost ready for a community meeting? I thank God for this, the regional NAACP getting involved and helping out. Are we almost ready to update the community that's been requesting and asking?
On my end, once I get this on the agenda, we're going to have, obviously, the agreement with the railroad and Joe's projects associated with it, right, to get the ball rolling. I think that would be a good start for public information. I imagine during that meeting, Joe will probably go down the entire history of the project, how great it is that we're here, and how wonderful it is, and I guess there'll be some public interaction there.
Do you have a time frame? 'Cause we've been talking about this for years, and I know it's moving. Do we have a time frame?
Well, like I said in my update, Railroad got us something at about 4:30 today. That
Great.
something consisted of a lot of pages to review. So we're reviewing it, and we're going through it, and we're hoping to get through it by tomorrow, so that way we can be done with it. If we find an issue, we have to spot that issue and address it, right? So we're not dallying. I don't want to lock myself into a date because I just can't give it to you.
Okay, no, I just wanted some type of time frame, but thank you for the update. We will continue, as the whole city is protected in some form or way. The North Shore area is not protected, as we constantly keep reminding the city, and it is a health issue. It's a environmental, there's so many things that is an issue, so we thank you for addressing it, but we will keep bringing it to the forefront, because again, if we're not putting it on the forefront, then it's not necessarily being expedited and talked about it as much. So again, thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank the NAACP, and thank Crystal Lake and many others that have been constantly advocating, and people throughout Long Beach have been advocating for the North Shore critical infrastructure project to take place. Also, just wanted to invite the city to, Dave, can you hand this to the city council, please? Just wanted to invite the city manager and the city council to a gospel concert that I'm doing. As a former radio personality and TV personality, they have it already, traveling across the country. I figured, let me just put a concert together, and I'm doing it at Hungry Crab. And so they gave me 2 weeks to try to put it together, so I guess I'll call a few friends and we'll see if we can pack the place. But again, we would like to thank the recording artists and the artists that agreed to come. You all invited, and again, just putting together flyers just got done last night. You have it, and I would love for you to come if you can. Hear some great gospel music during this season of just being together when there's so many depressing things going on. Just want to encourage the community and encourage the city, but just doing it there. All right, thank you.
Thank
God
you,
bless.
Mr. Hyde.
And the city manager, thank you for answering the phone. Thank you for fixing the lights over there in the park. The park looks better. Thank you. I mean, I appreciate when we work together. It's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. Thank you all. God bless.
Thank you. Nora Egan. Yeah, that was the last one.
Nora Egan, Long Beach. I think this is really for Mr. Barrios or Mr. Frazier. So when you foil something, you don't get an automatic response anymore. It just kind of disappears into thin air. So you're supposed to get an acknowledgement within 5 days. So I foiled about 4 requests in mid-October, and I got no response, no acknowledgement. So then I did a test foil at the end of October, and instead of getting an acknowledgement, I just got my answer. So are we not following procedure anymore? No?
Donna?
Yeah?
You sent the foil at the beginning of October?
Yes, and you get no acknowledgement when you submit a foil. It just kind of disappears into thin air. So you have to wait for your 5 days to be acknowledged, which is the law. But, so I didn't get any acknowledgement. So then I did a test foil, and I get no acknowledgement after the 5 days, but then 10 days later, I get an answer to my FOIL. So we're not following procedure.
I'll look into it.
Yeah,
I'll look into it.
Yeah, normally we do, that's our normal procedure, 5
Yeah.
days,
Yeah.
we do an acknowledgement and then answer within 20.
Right.
Right, so I didn't get the acknowledgement. And then
Within 5
the,
days? You didn't get it within the 5 days?
That is required.
Yeah, so I'll look into that.
and then, yeah, but then how do we fix it? Because I love my foils. Like years ago, you used to get like an instant kind of thing that your foil, you had a copy of it. So now it just kind of disappears into into thin air. And if you don't get that acknowledgement, you have no proof that you actually submitted a foil.
Okay, Dave, you want to?
So it sounds a little bit like an aberration because we typically do
Yeah.
give our responses within the lawful time period.
Right, no,
to
I get
fix- It doesn't sound typical. I think you did get the information you asked for. Is there anything outstanding that you'd like to discuss with me offline?
No, 3 foils were not acknowledged or answered.
Okay.
So I did a test foil about myself.
What was the
and that
time
was
frame that they
answered.
were sent in?
We can talk about it
October?
offline
Okay.
and look into it.
Yeah, I will look into it.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that too.
Yeah.
So there's an issue about, a procedural issue about the automatic response not happening, and then the actual timeframe.
Well, part of that might be, a few years ago, we changed to the foils to the
Right,
website.
and it is since that.
Yeah, the website does not have a mechanism for doing an automatic response.
Probably should.
With the email, I think what you're talking about, the email, you can put an automatic acknowledgement of receipt, but on the website form, it does not have a mechanism to do a receipt.
Could you report back at the next meeting?
Yeah, I'll take a look into it.
Thank you.
Okay. And then one other thing regarding the working meetings. So according to the Coalition, New York State Coalition, we're supposed to have the agendas and any backup documents at least 24 hours in advance. And we don't, unless they're somewhere on the website. I haven't been paying attention, so
Specifically for working sessions, you're asking?
yeah, the working.
So working sessions, no business is actually conducted, meaning the agenda or the calendar, there's no real calendar. It's open format, and the public is invited to kind of view the interaction. By and large, what we do discuss, or if there's any documentation that I'm aware of, is mostly draft form, so it's really not subject to disclosure just yet. So what the working sessions purposes are kind of just the incubator for these meetings.
Okay. And is there minutes then? Like
No minutes.
There's no minutes.
Nope.
Okay. And just while I have you here, is there minutes after the zoning board meetings?
We have, for the zoning board meetings, we have stenographers. So we'll have a stenographer take down verbatim everything on the record.
And then they're posted?
They typically are not posted, I believe.
They're not
They are
posted.
subject to FOIL, but I don't believe we post them.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
All right, folks, that's it. Have a good evening, and see you Saturday
Happy holiday.
at the Electric Light Parade.
Electric light parade. Probably wearing my light. Happy holiday.